We are back. Sky Bet League One is back. And Sky Bet League One live roundup here on a Sunday is back after 12 brilliant, glorious fixtures. We had upsets, we had away day wins, we had home wins, we had goals galore, we had thrashings, we had it all. And we're only one match week into the Sky Bet League One season. And I've already made a mistake within the first minute of the season. Welcome back. Nothing has changed. Can you see me? Can you hear me okay, guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, as you're joining as well, please smash that like button. It does really help the channel. Get more people in. Comment away. And before we do all of that, we've got to get our partner in crime from the... I was about to say the States West podcast from Channel 72. He's had a great start to his YouTube career. It's Jake. How are we doing?
2 minutes in, Ben, you've made two mistakes. I can tell you've had 12 weeks off. Yeah, mate, I'm good. Despite the result yesterday, I'm pretty happy that football's back. So yeah, looking forward to chowing it down with you.
Am I the only one not getting sound? Is everyone else getting sound? Let me know down below. See you, hear you. Yeah, can hear you. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you can hear me, that is fine. Again, so maybe just turn your volume up if it is just you. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay. Again, we'll come to the comment section just quickly. Congrats on the win to Ipswich. Yeah, well done to Ipswich. Well done to Plymouth. It just all of a sudden Sheffield Wednesday letting the team down a little bit. And Jake, I'm sure would love to have a bit of a gloat right now, but I'm not going to let him. Again, hey mate, hope you're well. Thank you, Elfie. Hope you're well. Hello, Tony. Hope you're well as well. Up the ticks. What a result for Wigan. Imagine my surprise. I've only been telling you. Sounds good. Perfect. Can hear you fine. Perfect. Jake, good weekend, mate. But don't talk about the Lincoln result just yet, because I know I'm going to make you do that in a bit. Good weekend.
Yeah, it's been nice, mate. Been for some mini golf and ice cream today with the missus. So yeah, it's been a positive weekend, that's for sure.
You've been eating it. I've been serving it. Joys. So, Sky Bet League One is back. Today, we will have 2.5 minutes on each game, and we'll have a very special guest in about half an hour or so. It'll be finally nice to have someone that knows what they're talking about as a co-host. Not mentioning names, but he'll be later on in the show. We're going to start off with, and Barnsley won 7-0, Jake, and I'm referring it to as one of the results of the weekend, probably one of the results of the season, and we're in match day one. What a result. I'll let you take the lead on this one and I will chip in. 7-0, and I mentioned on that League One podcast that you can go down below and follow when me, Jake, Jack, and Tom discuss all things League One. He's been doing very well. We got to 14th and 23rd in the charts in the last 2 weeks. It is Jake's turn to host, so we'll probably go down again. But again, go and follow that. And I said on there, Port Vale have a very tough start. They've got Reading next week, Blackpool the week after. They've got Charlton coming up as well. So it's going to be a tough run in. To lose by 7 is some hit, but a good start for Barnsley, who have kind of lost a few players and maybe lost respect of us out from the outside.
Yeah, I think I know especially you and me, Ben, in particular, had Barnsley to finish outside the top 6, which surprised many given how well they performed last year. But they never looked like they'd been away, had they? I mean, they brought many new players into the squad, new manager, new tempo, new style of play. It just clicked straight away, and Devante Cole getting a hat trick, fantastic. They were fantastic all round, really. And then you flip it on the other side for Port Vale. Well, you're thinking if you're Andy Crosby, well, it can't get any worse next week. Well, you hope it can't get any worse next week, but I'd be alarmed if I was a Port Vale fan. Yes, it's good to get it out of the way in game week 1, but you don't want to be losing 7-0, especially after 1,500 fans have made the journey from Stoke to Barnsley. But overall, great result, great performance for Barnsley. Good to see Dallas get on the score sheet as well. But for Vale, lots of work to do in all facets of the game, I think.
Styles back in the Barnsley lineup as well, which will be, I think, a positive if Barnsley can keep hold of him. He did start the season last year, then went on loan to Millwall, didn't he? Again, it's that midfield three. I thought Russell had a superb game alongside Kane in there and Kitchen at the back, I think, scoring. I think the one good thing about Barnsley, Mads Anderson leaving, I think Kitchen has probably been one of their better players. I think personally, at times, he's been better than Mads Anderson. And he's not got the recognisation because Mads Anderson's always been the centre and the star boy of the three, really. Now he's kind of coming to the main man of that back line.
Scored a good goal, Ben. Scored a really good goal, didn't he?
It was a terrific goal. And when you've got, players like O'Keefe that can supply a seat, you've got Cadden on the other side who I think he got 7 last year, didn't he, in League One. So it's a great result. And Devante Cole's found at home now. And it's a great result. And Port Vale, again, will have to... they've got a cup match on Tuesday against Fleetwood. So, dear me. Yeah, they'll probably react well, put it that way. But again, Barnsley's next 3, Bristol Rovers away, Posh and Oxford also come to Oakwell. Again, maybe 2 sides that'll be looking towards the top 6 and so beyond. And Blackpool are another team looking for top 6, in my opinion, anyway. They won 2-0 yesterday with a double from Shane Lavery, the man that Neil Critchley did sign 2 years ago. Shane Lavery has scored 14 league goals now for Blackpool in 71 appearances, 12 in 70 in the Championship. And maybe now in League One, they've dropped down a level. They're going to create more chances. And I think he can really shine. I still think Blackpool need another striker. I don't think Jake Beasley quite cuts it alongside Shane Lavery, but they have got goals from other areas of the pitch. I look at your CJ Hamiltons. I think he's going to have to be influential. I think Sonny Carey now given a run of games, but I still think they need another player in there. I think the second goal from Shane Lavery is one of the goals of the day. And believe me, there are a few. I think Kitchen's up there. There's a couple from the Carlisle Fleetwood game that I'd like to mention later on as well. But Shane Lavery, I think, obviously, is a very good player. Blackpool are good in League One. Neil Critchley has a 41% win percentage with Blackpool now as well. Again, Burton Albion weren't quite at the races. And it was a tough game, Blackpool away opening day. A lot of the new boys starting, your Gordons, your Moons, your Seddons, your Blackmans, and then you're looking at your Stocktons up front. It will take time to gel. And Burton are another one that don't normally like starting off too well, do they? So good result for Blackpool at home. A couple of tough games coming up. They've got to go to Exeter next week, who had an excellent result yesterday, but I think they can go in full confidence. And Blackpool keep a clean sheet with Dan Grimshaw in goal. Imagine my surprise.
Yeah, really good from Blackpool. Lavery was someone that I kept really a close eye on when he signed for them, obviously from Northern Ireland. I think he had a really good campaign the first year they were in the Championship, not so much last year. And then he's hit the ground running this year. I mean, the second goal was fantastic, the little dink over the goalkeeper. I think he's going to be key, like it says there. I think if they can keep him firing, he's going to be a really dangerous player because he knows where the back of the net is. For Burton, you go into a team that are really fancied at this level with a really good manager. I think Burton will be fine. I don't think their season is going to be defined on beating Blackpool away from home. I think it's going to be about beating the Fleetwoods, beating the Lincolns, beating the Shrewsburys of the world. So I don't think they'll be disappointed either.
I think the one good thing that Blackpool did was get the result at home, because you look at now the team we're going on to. Bolton also got the great result, and you're going to smirk, Jake, because I'm not going to take the mick. I think anyone who finishes above Bolton this year wins Scarlet League One. Yeah. I honestly think you look at their team yesterday. Baxter in goal, Jones, Santos, Iredale. Jack Iredale was their first signing last year. He signed at the end of May, and we did a show early on last year, and we both said there's not been much business done in League One yet, but that is one of the signings really of the summer. And unfortunately, injuries hit Jack Iredale, and he was excellent at Cambridge. And then you've got Cogley, Williams, Sheehan and Morley behind a Kyle Dempsey, in behind an Adebayo and Dion Charles front too. Adebayo did score, Charles didn't. But Dion Charles doesn't have to score, and he plays well without scoring goals sometimes because he brings others into play, and sometimes he's a bit too unselfish, I think, at times. But they got the job done. And when you're bringing on players like Cameron Jerome, Mendes Gomez, it's a good omen, isn't it?
They're a good side, mate. I don't think that there's any doubting. There'll be plenty of Bolton fans in here. They're a fantastic outfit, and like you say, they've got depth. And And to be honest, I think the best player on the pitch yesterday was Carl Dempsey. After I watched them against Argyle at Wembley, he played really well that day from what I can remember. He was fantastic. Again, just causing problems, was a traditional number 10, but was picking up the spaces in between our wing backs and our outside centre backs and was causing havoc. So, look, Bolton are a fantastic unit. And like you say, they brought Mendes Gomez on, they brought Mundulu on. When you've got that sort of quality to come from the bench, you know you're going to be a serious player in this league. And they play some good football. They keep the ball really nicely. They keep it ticking over. And they can really threat on, the balls through down the channels up the top. So, yeah, they're a really good side. They played really well yesterday. But obviously disappointed from a Lincoln point of view. 2 set pieces and an own goal. It's really disappointing. 2 free headers as well. We weren't a million miles off them, if I'm honest, but just really disappointed that it's 3 moments have cost us because we kept with them pretty much. And Ethan Hamilton, quick mention for him, played really well as well.
Obviously, Bolton, bar the 3 teams that went up last year, Plymouth, Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, only Barnsley have got more points at home than Bolton. Bolton have now got 50 points in their last 24 home games, which is over 2 points a game, which is absolutely remarkable. The season before last, Plymouth Argyle got 46 from 23, and I said it's something to build on. Bolton last year got 47. And you know what Plymouth went and done this year? I see a very similarity between Bolton and Plymouth. Not the most fancy team on paper, but very good players technically. They've replaced, with decent loans, decent free transfers, decent fees as well. Not spent too much money, to be fair. They've bought very, very well. And they've done it over a number of years, which I really like. Lincoln, no shots on target, Jacob. From what I've seen, is that something to be alarmed about when you've got the likes of Ben House and Tyler Walker and Ethan Hamilton as a front 3 collective? I know it'd be 1 behind a front 2 from the outside world.
I don't think so. You're going to probably one of the best defences in the league. Rico Santos didn't give Ben House a go all season, all afternoon. We had to start with Tyler Walker, who's not fit. Rico Hackett had a slight injury and could only play 45, so we had to compromise on formation. And we had our moments. Lasse Sorensen had a couple. Rico Hackett, when he came on, was really bright as well. Ben House could have scored in the first half. So we had plenty of half chances, but I'm not too concerned about the shots on target. We've got Wycombe, we've got Notts County on Tuesday and Wycombe on Saturday. Suddenly 2 wins there, and we're on the move again. So not too concerned at this early stage, no.
No, absolutely. And Cambridge got a great result, didn't they? At home to Oxford. Now, one thing I'd like to point out about Oxford, Cambridge, obviously it was a 2-0 result for Cambridge. We all knew Oxford would dominate the ball. 70% of possession they had. They had, more than double the amount of passes of Cambridge. But one thing Cambridge have done this summer is they've really added to that experienced defence. They have got young Bennett at the back at 21 years of age, but they've got Morrison at 35. Bennett, is an old head as well, and Danny Andrews 32 now. So they've got real experience at the back. But also they've got some nice blend up front. Gath Mahammy scored a goal. Jack Lancaster scored a goal. It's his 6th goal in 77 games for the U's. And it looks a nice little blend. They've got, they have got tough games coming up. They started well last year at home. They won the first 4 home games last year. Positive start for Cambridge in my eyes. And then you're looking at Oxford. It's going to take time for them to build. Your Thorne has come back in, your Ruben Rodriguez has come back in, your Harris has come in, Beadle's come in. It's going to take a bit of time for these new teams to click. We have mentioned this. Ruben Rodriguez, though, he played quite well from what I've seen. He did score a lot of goals, didn't he, for Notts County? 54 and 139, which is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah, just touching on Cambridge, I think it's a great result for them. Oxford are one of those that are really heavily fancied, and for Cambridge to shut them out and to score 2 goals of their own. Lancaster's was a really good finish. He followed the ball in from a mistake from the keeper. And Gaston Ahadme as well, who's had his ups and downs with Pompey and Ipswich and Burton in the last couple of years, and took his goal really well. I think Oxford will be disappointed, but that signs of encouragement, definitely. I think they were disappointed. Beadle for the first goal, obviously parries it straight to Lancaster, and then But by all accounts, Ruben Rodriguez, when he came on, I saw him put a really good ball in towards the end of the second half. I think he's going to be massive for them. And the more minutes he gets in the legs, I think they're going to be absolutely fine. So Cambridge will be absolutely buzzing, rightly so, for beating a team really fancied this year. And everyone's got them to go down pretty much. Oxford, like you say, a little bit of time to gel, probably one or two more players through the front door, and we'll see how they get on.
Do you think sometimes, in my opinion, I really do, I think it's sometimes the best time to play your Portsmouths, your Derby counties, your Oxfords. I know Blackpool and Bolton won, but
no.
they're good. They're very good. You have to play them at some point, but sometimes you kind of think, well, if I'm going to play them, get them out of the way early, because I kind of think these teams, once they get going, unfortunately, Blackpool and Bolton, for Burton and Lincoln's sake, got going very quickly, and you'd expect them to. But I think the thing is with Bolton and Blackpool, I think the difference is they haven't had a massive turnover, whereas Oxford have, Portsmouth have, Reading, let's be honest, have. Derby of, Derby's of the right-hand side of their back line, the right wing back to the two centre halves were all new players. And this is kind of have a knock-on effect. In my opinion, I think it's the best time to play them.
I disagree, because sometimes if they've gone on a run, yes, they're a really good outfit, but sometimes, you look at Pompey last year. When was the best time to play Pompey? Probably about 3 or 4 games into the season at Fratton Park, where they weren't getting the results that they wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that's a better time where doubt starts to creep in, and you start to think, well, we've seen these players play for 90 minutes before, and they've not done it before, so why should we trust them? Whereas Bolton last year, going in with a load of fresh hope and optimism, and they blew us out the water, rightly so. So I can see both points, but it's it's difficult whenever you play a team like Bolton or Derby or whoever it is.
Absolutely. Carlisle next. Decent point for Carlisle. A decent point for Fleetwood, in my opinion. They've got a good team, Carlisle. They've strengthened well. Holy in goal, Vale, Huntington, Mellish at the back. I really thought, Gibson up front is a really, really good player. He's only got 11 goals, though, in 99 appearances. I thought Plange didn't really offer much.
What a surprise. I don't know.
He's still yet to score a Scarlet League 1 goal, by the way. And he's had 19 appearances. Maybe it'll be 20th time lucky against Oxford next time out. It was a brilliant piece of beauty from Owen Moxon, who has been subject to interest, shall we say. Fleetwood, very good defensively, hard to break down. Don't look like conceding many times, bar if it's a mistake or a set piece, but don't look like offering anything. You're starting 2 wingers up front, in my opinion. I think they're better out there, but they're 2 of our front 4 of the season. Our main 2, one's out injured and one dropped to the bench for certain reasons. Is one due to a new offer from Oxford United? We shall see. Decent point all around, but 2 sides maybe I think will struggle this season.
Yeah, I think Carlisle, I think you said it on both T-Lop and on here last week, Ben, that it's a difficult time to go to Carlisle, opening day of the season. They're buzzing, they got promoted. By the looks of it, and I've watched your video again, which was excellent. The atmosphere at Bronson Park was probably the most unique it's going to have been all season, unless they can win the title on the final day at home. It's a difficult place to go, and when they get 1-0 up, Carlisle are genuinely pretty hard to get the other side off. So I think Fleetwood did really well to do that. Obviously, Owen Moxon scored a great free kick. I think it's got to be up there for goal of the day. I mean, but to be fair, Brendan Wiradou's goal, pretty tidy finish as well. He hit it well on the volley or the half volley. Really good finish. So, yeah, I mean, Fleetwood, you had that opportunity, didn't you, in the second half? Promise on Cherry probably should have scored. I think Carlisle had one as well towards the second half. They probably should have scored. So the score probably should have been 2-2. So, look, 2 teams that I think are going to probably be down the lower half of the table this year, if I'm honest. But a good advert for League One, and I think it just shows that both teams didn't want to lose on the first day of the season, and you have to settle for a tight draw. When
Joe Garner, there's a cross in the 95th minute, and a cross comes into the box, and I see someone called Joe Garner come into the box, headering the ball, heart in head moment. I'm thinking, and luckily, just quickly, bear in mind, I want to know in the comments below, let me know, in the Fleetwood game yesterday, this new injury time rules, very interesting. I don't know if I'm a fan. I think I am, actually, because ask me again when we're 1-0 up in the game and we're holding on for dear life and the fourth official had 15 on instead of 5. Yesterday, altogether at the Fleetwood game, there was 20 minutes of injury time play. What are you thinking about it? Do you think it's good for the game, or?
I can see why they've done it. I think they're trying to eradicate the really stupid time wasting. I think we all saw with the Wednesday Southampton game on Sky, the first sort of instance of time wasting from Southampton. I think it was Armstrong, who is subject to bid from obviously Ipswich, kicked the ball away and got a yellow card. I think that he showed that from straight up from the off. So I think it's good. I think it's going to stop players from time wasting. I think eventually you'll see it drop down because players will realise that, well, whatever we're going to do, we're going to get added on anyway. We're going to get it added on fairly. So for me, I think it's a good thing, and I think it gives an opportunity. It makes football more entertaining because if you another 20 minutes, why would you not want to watch another 20 minutes of a really good Sky Bet League One game? So fascinating debate, but I'm all for it then.
Absolutely. Charlton, what a result for them. I'll let you cover them. They won 1-0, obviously, Dobson getting the goal. And it's good to see 3 out of the 11, starting for Charlton have come through their academy. One of those, Campbell up front, who impressed me last year. And then you've got, Dobson in there helping May making his debut. The subs they're bringing on, Kamara, Hector, Kirk, Taylor-Doon. It's a really good result. Leighton Orient battled, they stuck in the game. A lot of their players have been with him a long while, so I expected it to be a tight 4th contest. But again, Charlton just had the quality. I think being at home got them through, but it's 3 points on the board and Charlton can build from that.
Yeah, I don't think Charlton will care how they played, really. They got the result. George Dobson scored the goal, I think. Whilst I'm going to credit George Dobson for scoring the goal, I also want to give credit to Alfie May because he is literally inches behind him. And I kind of feel that on that opening day, Charlton fans, yes, it's good for your captain to score, but you want your new star striker to get the first goal in a 1-0 win at the start of the season to get his confidence going. So George Dobson could have left it. I think Charlton fans might have been a bit more grateful, but ultimately they've won 1-0. It's a good, pretty banker performance. Leighton Orient, I thought, were good in flashes. They had a couple of opportunities. They struggled. They made Charlton struggle a little bit facing their own goal. Obviously, Richie Wellens is a good manager at the level, can play some good football. I think Archibald had a really good game as well. So interesting to see how they get on. But backed by 3,000 O's fans, it's a great support from that level as well. So I think Orient will be absolutely fine. And like I said against Burton, I don't think Orient's season is going to define on going to Charlton away and getting a win.
No, and if you can pick something up, it's points gained, isn't it? What a result for Wigan Athletic. I'll quickly cover Derby. Obviously, you look at the team and Collins and Mendes-Lang. Collins has really struggled in a Derbyshire, and it wasn't too long ago that he was being rumoured to leave the football club. And still wants to me if he did leave the football club. Paul Warne knows it. They need a striker desperately because I think they need maybe 2 strikers, in my opinion. And Collins needs to get up and running. Otherwise, you need to get him out of the football club. They've got a good midfield 3, Bird, Horahan, Smith. I need to see a bit more creativity. I know Horahan can create assists. I know it was Forsyth with the goal, an experienced pro. And Ward, Nelson and Bradley came into the side when it was actually Bradley's mistake that led to the goal. But I think Derby came into this game. We're Derby County. This is our 2nd season in League One. We're going to win. We're playing Wigan. They're on -8. They're going to throw out the kids. What a start. Glorious atmosphere and 25,000 in front of them. But Wigan went with fight and went with spirit. And that young Wigan side that you say, it's got the likes of Callum Lang, Matt Manaman, Stephen Humphreys, Charlie White. Bear in mind, Charlie White, since the 2017-18 season, has scored 56 goals in League One. And that's, I think that's in something like 130 games, which is 1 every 2 games. And if you did that this season, you score nearly 20 goals. That for me, I think if they can keep that front 4 fit, I think Callum Lang will get 15. I really do. I think Humphreys can get 10. I think Matt Manaman maybe will be just over the 5 mark. All of a sudden, then I think you can get 50 goals out of that front 4. I really do. And then you've got Asgard, Smith, and I mentioned for young Charlie Hughes at the age of 19, who they've managed to tie down to a new contract. And he played the back end of last season as well. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Everything that came his way was out and he cleared with danger. And it was absolutely a breeze for him. And I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a few bids from Premier League clubs, in my opinion, to put him in the academy or even Championship clubs to go and play for them. So it's a good afternoon's week for Wigan. I got slaughtered for a few weeks ago for putting him 13th. I'm now thinking he could finish a bit above. But it's one result. They have to go again next week. They've got Northampton at home. But again, they've got Northampton and Carlisle away. They win both games, all of a sudden they're on 1 point again. So they're 3 points closer to the first target. And we can just need to take one game. You can say Sean Maloney is a nobody in football. Well, he's certainly making his name. Brilliant result. I'm buzzing for Wigan. And for me, I know I shouldn't say it. I think that it's the best result of the weekend in terms of that took everyone by surprise. And it probably took everyone by surprise, bar Wigan fans, because I think Wigan fans knew they had quality and they've just gone and showed it again.
Yeah, I think my Derby supporting mate Boz was pretty lacklustre when he got home from Derby that last night. Wasn't really impressed given how they played. I think he sort of said Wigan were really, really good. Charlie White had a fantastic game and yeah, it's a good result for Wigan, isn't it? I think Wigan, some of the Wigan fans probably would have expected it going into Pride Park, but it's fantastic to see that, that they're on -8. They still go to the title favourites and go and turn them over, which is why we all love Sky Bet League One. So I am conscious of time, Ben. Shall we move on to Northampton Stevenage?
Yes.
Good win for Stevenage, Ben, I think. Northampton had a couple of moments. Tyree Simpson hit the post. The goalkeeper had to make a couple of really good save from Patrick Brough. But Stevenage, as they did last year, just powered through. And Piergiani, who's a local lad to us, he played for Boston. He obviously had a really good spell at Oldham in League Two. Moves to Stevenage. He's been transformed. He's a goal-scoring centre-back. And you look at the way he took his goal yesterday, fantastic. And Stevenage, they took a really big crowd to Sixfields on their return to League One. I think they're all grateful that they're in the division. A fantastic win. I think on opening day, a game that both teams would have been looking at and saying, do you know what? It's one we can get 3 points for. But Stevenage, as we record, Ben, 7th in League One. I know it's one game in. I know it's a bit mental. But a great result, good performance. I think Borough fans will be happy. Northampton fans maybe dreading the worst of what might be to come if they've got to go to Wigan next week. But look, I think if a couple more additions, Northampton could be still competitive at this level. What do you think?
Absolutely agree with you. And you mentioned again Piergiani. He scored 32 goals in 269 games, and they're for Salford, Oldham, and now Stevenage. And again, 3 clubs that rely on goals from other areas because you look at the front two. Reid up front, he's only got 24 goals in his last 103 for Stevenage, and Presley, I don't think he's a good omen because the last 2 football clubs he has played for, Accrington and Wimbledon, have both gone down out of League One. They were both loans. This is a permanent deal. He did still score 12 goals in 54 games combined. So if he can get up and running, that'd be good. It was good to see the likes of Butler and Ben Thompson, Louis Thompson and Nathan Thompson, the Thompson family, having a good day out. Again, just a few more Thompsons in the Trialist family recently as well. Great result for Stevenage. And I think under Steve Evans, you will see 1-0 to the Stevenage. I really, really do, because I think that back three are going to have to be switched on. They're going to be one of those teams where, and this is the best thing in football when you've got this at the lower league. I don't like Stevenage away. What an awful day that was. It was awful. We played terrible. They wouldn't let us in. I don't want to go back there. Stevenage will do that this season, in my opinion anyway. Reading against Posh. Now, Reading, a lot of circumstances as well. And I don't know if you saw the lineup there, Jake. Do you know we played up top with Andy Carroll?
I couldn't name him, no.
EHIBHATION. I'm not going to pronounce it.
Go on, have a go. Have a go. I'll have a go if you have a go.
Ahibahation.
No, I think it's Ahibahashim, my man. It looks like man at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you let us know, guys. And then Andy Carroll obviously winning the most duels in the match. Imagine my surprise. Charlie Savage making his debut as well. Again, Posh, great result. Mason Clark scoring at the goal. His 11th goal for Posh. in 47 games. And then it's good to see the likes of Collins, Cipriano, still at the football club, Ronnie Edwards, Critchlow as well coming into the side. Great result. And it's not a type of Peterborough performance, that is it, going away, winning 1-0, keeping a clean sheet. You usually get them to, they won the opening day last year against Charlton 3-2. They're the types of Peterborough wins you kind of get to use to see them. But maybe this new look Peterborough keeping a tight back line is going to be important for them.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Peterborough. Really didn't give Reading much of a sniff. And like you say, going forward, they're going to be electric, aren't they, with Clark Harris and Mason Clark in their team. I think it's not a typical Mason Clark goal. Normally he's cutting in from the left and pinging them in the far corner. I think he hit the post, or Bazunis made a really good save from one before. And then it's a looping header that escapes the Australian goalkeeper and goes into the net. Not a typical Mason Clark goal, but yeah, I think Peterborough were really impressive yesterday. Good performance on the road, difficult place to go. Reading are a little bit of an unknown quantity at this minute in time. And yeah, I think if Posh can play more like that, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they feature in the top 6 towards the end of the year whatsoever.
Absolutely. We're gonna skip Portsmouth for a minute. We will be back with them later on. Shrewsbury, good result. Good to see Daniel Odoa back, in my opinion, as well. Back 3 for Shrewsbury, back winning games of football against a side they struggled against last year, because Cheltenham did manage to do the double over them as well. And Daniel Odoa coming back as well. 26 goals in 136 doesn't sound a lot, but when you see what Daniel Odoa does for the side, he's a big, big promise. And he's going to be like a new signing for them.
Yeah, I don't think really many people, including myself, gave them a chance this year. Yes, they played Cheltenham, they beat Cheltenham 1-0 at home. It's not a massive standout performance, but it's the first one on the board for Matty Taylor. Ryan Bowman back amongst the goals. He's, you mentioned Udo there. His goals, Ryan Bowman's goals, are going to be just as big. And I think Shrewsbury were looking good going forward. I mean, maybe perhaps Cheltenham could have thrown them a few more difficulties going the other way, but Shrewsbury will be happy that they've got a win under the belt. So, yeah, good for them.
Absolutely. And Cheltenham as well. There'll be other results for them. Again, they're going to struggle. I really do believe that. And they're going to have to get up and running as soon as possible. But another one that I don't think is being mentioned for a result of the day is Exeter going to Wycombe and being 2-0 up after 4 minutes. Jack Aitchison has had the perfect debut, scoring 24 seconds into that. And you look at their side and it's just filled full of quality. Dimitri Mitchell, Nombe, Aitchison, Sweeney, Hartridge, Zach Jules experience, Tom Carroll, Trevor as well in there as well. It's a brilliant, brilliant result for them. And it's something they can really build on. Whereas Matt Bloomfield has only won 4 out of 16 Scarlet League Ones, lost 8, drew the other 4. And you look at their side, and it's not like a Wycombe side of old. They're going through a transition period. I like the Leahy, Brecklin, Potts. It's a new midfield for them, isn't it? And maybe that was the reason that they started a little bit slow. These new teams, again, starting a little bit slow.
Yeah, 7 new faces in that Wycombe 11
as well.
From last year. Dale Taylor coming up front. It's a whole new line across the midfield with the 2 wing backs and the 3 midfielders, like you said, Ben. Look, I thought Wycombe were really poor under Bloomfield towards the back end of last year. We went there and won 2-0 quite convincingly. But for Exeter, a great away day. I thought they were fantastic. They even missed a penalty as well, so it could have been 4. Look, Exeter are a good side. I think they've had a lot of outgoings. I think that's been quite high profile, but the ones they've brought in, the likes of Dion Rankin and Aitchison up front, I think they're going to be absolutely fine. And if they can keep Sam Nombe, they're going to score bags of goals. Absolutely.
And again, next up, we've done every team. We're going to go to Portsmouth because, Portsmouth, a couple of signings, you could say, this year. If they've signed a lot and a new team. But I think this is about time we get our good mate in from 4-0 written all over it. Let me know if you're ready to come in, and I will introduce you. Here he is now, Tom from 4-0 written all over it. How are we doing, mate?
Boys, nice to see you. Yes, I was just eating a bit of dinner, Ben, but I thought I'd sit in and have a little listen. I'm really sorry. I haven't managed to hear the whole show, so I don't want to say anything that you guys have repeated. But from what I did, I heard kind of the start of what you talked about Peterborough, and I very much enjoyed it, and I've been listening since then. I'm very well. I'm absolutely exhausted, and we've still got quite a lot to do together tonight, haven't we? So, yes, I'm all good, mate. Thank you. I hope you boys are well too. How are we?
I'm good, Jake.
No, I've had a bad weekend, so you'll hear about it later. We might have, we played the best team in the league.
Not losing on the opening day isn't for everyone. You've got to remember that.
Right.
So, right then, we've got you in. Now, this is our featured match, a new feature on the channel this year. We're going to get a guest from different football clubs every week, and Tommy's our first one. And I've thought Portsmouth, again, they signed a lot of players. Yesterday, you had Norris, Poole, White and Scully all make their debuts, and you had a few come off the bench. You know, Sparks, Yengi, Kamara, Sayedi coming off the bench. You had 8 new faces, 4 that started for you, 4 that came off the bench, to add to an already packed team of Morel, Pack, Bishop, Rafferty, you know, Towler, Conor Olgrive. It's just stacked with talent. But you found it a little bit frustrating yesterday. Although you did have more passes, more corners, more possession, more shots. They did have one more shot on target then, yeah. But was it a Joey Barton masterclass against you, would you say?
No. Well, it depends what you define a Joey Barton masterclass as. I would imagine if you want to go to Fratton Park, set up, sit behind the ball when you've got that early lead or semi-early lead, then yes, I think it was. But if what you plan to do is get away with all 3 points, I don't think it was. He obviously wasn't present, of course, which I don't know whether that has a spin on things. It was very much a Joey Barton kind of set up, though, Ben. You saw, we had... I think it was 8 minutes in the first half and 6 or 7 in the second half added on. So we ended up playing sort of upwards of 100 minutes overall. Well, even more than that, maybe even towards 110. So I know that's the new look with the EFL and kind of the guidance, but it was very much a Joey Barton side of old. They got in there. They were aggressive. I thought he defended incredibly well. I was really impressed with Luke Thomas. I think he was definitely their man of the match. He did really well and obviously scored the goal too, which helps. But yeah, no, it was... did he score the goal or am I making that up? He might have scored the goal. He did score the goal. But yeah, from a Pompey point of view... frustrating. I wasn't leaving disappointed, and I think that might be because when you score a 90-second equaliser, or if you score in the 92nd minute, or if there's late drama or whatever, then you come out with a bit of a good feeling, and then when all the dust has settled and you look back on it and you think there were so many chances that we missed, could have scored, didn't score. Conor Ogilvie, you mentioned him starting. He hit the post as a great strike from Gavin White from sort of upwards of 20-25 yards that really got the keeper scrambling for it. There's a blatant penalty that Sam Allison hasn't given us on Cassini Yengi before he then scored. How he hasn't given that, I do not know. And I don't know if you boys have seen it back, but we were really incensed by that, and as was the Fratton end and 3/4 of Fratton Park. So yeah, I think overall, great to get off the mark. Pompey very much a work in progress at the moment. It's not a finished article by any stretch. I don't think anyone can expect it to be. There's obviously a bit of rumbling. Me, you, Jack, Jake have all had the conversation in the past of there's such high expectations for this football club, and some of the reaction across social media has already been it's been questioning, why aren't we coming out the blocks? Why aren't we beating the side with no disrespect like Bristol Rovers at home? There's a big expectation there. I think ultimately, when you're introducing the level of people into the building and onto the pitch, as you have done, you talking about the 8 changes, 4 of them from the bench made. I'm in the house, just come off an hour with Aaron, so yes, I'm very much in the house and exhausted. But yeah, when you look at all the changes that have come through, you look at the impact that those 4 made coming off the bench as well. I think equally in equal measure, Abu Kamara. What's his name? Jack Sparks, Cassini Yengi, and then sorry, Ben, I think you're a family-friendly show, aren't you? Apologise for dropping that one on a Sunday evening. And then obviously the goal scorer, Cassini Yengi as well, and Christian Sadie coming off the bench. So all 4 of them. I think Jack Sparks bombing down that left-hand side, perhaps playing maybe a a little bit further forward than he would normally, but I saw a little bit of an exchange between him and Joe Morrell when he came on to say, get down that left, get those balls in. That's what he did. Abu Kamara is brilliant. Hold up play, excellent. He was brilliant. Christian Sadie just kind of attracts defenders and does so well for me. And then Cassini Yengi with a goal. So all in all, I wasn't disappointed. Don't really know what to make of it all. Going to give it some time. I know we don't want to be patient. We don't want to be complacent. More than 4,000 League One minutes left to go. There you go.
I agree with that. I think that's a very good summary. A couple more questions
Thanks,
before. A couple more. It's nice to have a good insight for one. It's only taken 2 years. We found it, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we like to subscribe just for that. Do you think Portsmouth were, whatever happened yesterday, they could not win that? If they won 3-0, the Portsmouth, they signed lost, they're buying the league, they've done this, they've done. And if you drew, they've not won. And if they lost, I think there was a few people, right? Before I got onto this, I was one of them because at one stage, Jack's Oxford was losing, Jake's Lincoln were losing, your Portsmouth were losing. And my Fleetwood were drawing against Carlisle. I'll say drawing, holding on to a draw against Carlisle. And I was thinking, bang. I stuck all the stick that we're going to finish the lowest out of these and come on. And I took a picture going like that. And then I see on my way out, 90 plus 2. And I'm like, oh. But do you think Portsmouth in that situation not think they could have won that? Because whatever happened, I don't think Portsmouth would have got any praise yesterday. But when you're Portsmouth, do you really need praise?
No, I don't think you need praise. I think a bit of recognition of endeavour, I think, would be nice. There was very much a lot of that. First half, abysmal. Really want to file that one in the lowest drawer you possibly can in terms of performances because it was, very nervy. Fratton Park was very loud. I think conditions first off were terrible as well. We had all sorts of downpours. It was these sort of 4 different seasons in the space of 45 minutes. It's pretty dreadful, but that's the same for both sides. No, I'm just kind of trying to tell you what I thought, but it's not an excuse. I'm not going to defend the first half whatsoever because it was awful. Second half, I saw a very gritty Portsmouth side. I was really impressed by our attitude to get. Look, Regan Paul, best player on the pitch by a mile.
What a surprise! What a surprise!
So I just hear Jake in my ear go. He was excellent. I think second half I was. And to answer your question, no, you can never win when it's Pompey. You outlined the 3 reasons there really well. I did come out, I said on my video after the game, heading out of the ground with Dad, that I think it's a game that we could have won. Great credit to Bristol Rovers for coming here and for large parts of particularly the first half, doing really well against us and causing us all sorts of problems. I think they were relatively quiet for the second half and we had the lion's share of everything in my view. And you'll see reflected in the video and some of the highlights that you boys have seen how many chances Pompey had. I mentioned them earlier on. But the overriding thing for me would be that, yes, we could have won the game. You're thinking about the pen. You're thinking about hitting the post. You're thinking about that one that's just tipped over the bar from Gavin White. You're even thinking about Colby in the first half. He gets it under his feet. If Colby scores in the 10th minute, you boys will agree with me. That's a totally different game. 1-0 down for Bristol Rovers at Fratton Park. It completely changes the complexion. It really is all about the timing when you're at Fratton of the goals. Gavin White was the ball, best way to describe it. And we had kind of a better view than the camera does at the top, and anyone really around the ground with the best view because we were right behind it. And you can just see it. The power's great on it, but it's just drifting just a foot or two wide of the left upright or the right upright in the goalkeeper's case. And it kind of was a ball's width away in the end. But well, I wouldn't quite say that. I think there's a fourth to add to that for definite. And I'm by no means a League One musketeer. Ben was saying earlier on how, it's finally you've got some insight. I don't think there's any 2 or 3, including Wardy, better placed people to talk to you about League One than you see on your screens. Overall game we could have won. That one got really close from Gavin White. A couple of chances. I know I'm talking if buts and maybes. It's a long old season. I put it this way. Overriding thing, very excited about some of the talent that I saw. Cassini Yengi, Christian Sadie, Abu Kamara coming on, Colby to supplement that. It's a good team. Regan Paul's excellent. Literally did not put a foot wrong. And if he did put a foot wrong, he rectified it immediately. And can I just say, occasionally Jake does say a relevant thing because he is a captain without the armband. He was telling Marlon Pack what to do at points yesterday afternoon, which I was very impressed with because it's kind of one of those where no one really speaks against Marlon Pack. It's kind of just not in a sort of a territorial or hierarchical sense, but it kind of Marlon has the final say, and Regan wasn't really not letting him, but was maybe supplementing what he was trying to achieve. So overall, lots of positive to take, Ben. But yeah, not quite there yet.
2 final quick fire questions.
Go on.
Where can you find more of Tom and 4-0 written all over it? Because you're very close now to the big 14,000 subscribers.
We're quite close to 14,000 nil written all over it. You're quite right. I said in the video yesterday that, we're sort of just under 300 away, and now we're more like 200 away, which is pretty crazy, the growth over the last day or two. But it's great to bring the season back in and herald the arrival as we have done. 4-0 written all over it. Join us up and down the country for Pompey videos. And the I think we should also plug the pod, shouldn't we? Because we're about to do another one of those. Oh, that was the next quickfire question. Watch 4-0 and the pod. Bosh.
So, again, us three and Wardy, Wardy will be coming on later on. You know, hopefully this month if I can afford his transfer fee.
He's quite expensive. He is quite expensive.
Oh, exactly. Oh, yes. He's one of the most expensive ones. Why do you think I get Jake? He's cheap. I'm Fleetwood. I've got nothing in the pot. Again, so we do have a podcast. One will be getting released tomorrow. We'll be in Welling as well, talking all things Sky Bet League One. It's on Spotify, iTunes, whatever your podcast provider is. We've got 14th, 23rd in the rankings. Jake's turn to hosting next week, so we'll probably be outside the top 100. But again, join us on our way. The link is in below as well. I think you can go and check us out. Tom, thank you very much for joining us, mate. We will let you go. Go and subscribe to 4-0 written all over.
Oh, is that it? Can I not stay, Ben, for the end?
You can stay if you want. You can stay if you want.
I won't say anything. I'll just listen to the League One orators.
You can say if you want, my mate. You can say if you want. So if you've got any final League One questions, this is where you get them in now for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. A bit of an extended piece as well. Obviously, the League One table, we're not going to have a look at right now. Barnsley, we all know, are top of the league, and Wigan are bottom of the league. That's all that matters after match week 1. I always think get to 10 games and then we'll have a look at the table for the first time. And anything else, I don't agree with. But before we do that, I think the man to my right, is it right? I think I'm left and right just about. Jake, you've done very well, mate. Over 200 subscribers in the first, week and a half, 2 weeks. Deserves a massive achievement. His link is down below. There's 80 people in this chat below. All you need to do is click the description, click channel 72, and press subscribe. It'll be done within 2 clicks. I reckon we can get him another 10, 15 subscribers as well. So, Jake, discuss what your channel is, what's going to be, and the next 30, 45, 60 seconds.
Oh, I don't need that long.
He never needs that long, Ben. You know this by now.
Yeah, good point.
Normally a bit less.
No, thank you, Ben. Channel 72 then. It's a new adventure for me, obviously. We've done our predictions for all 3 EFL leagues. I'm not like these two and cop out and only do 1 league and put my neck on all 3 divisions, some of which I have absolutely no idea about. So I've had to stick to the absolute high hills. I'd say Mansfield fans have been the worst. I put Mansfield 13th in League 2 and then they go and sign Aidan Flint the next day. I was absolutely seething. but no, yeah, we're doing some predictions next week for a couple of games as well. Normally going to do a live stream on a Sunday. Got a bit busy today, so didn't do one today. But going forward, it'd be really good to get you involved. I've got 200 subs. I think I've had a couple of K views on a couple of videos as well, which is pretty big. I've never had that sort of number before. I know, honestly. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to obviously being part of you boys and your boys' channel. I think we play both of you two actually in the space of a couple of weeks. We played Pompey towards the back end of September and then Fleetwood early October. So looking forward to getting up and down to Pompey and Fleetwood and seeing you boys as well. So
can't wait as well. Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for that. Thoughts on signing Max Matter?
Good signing.
Very, very good. These players from the League of Ireland, I tell you what, everyone thinks these leagues, and there's some right talent coming through. Like, I know from my experience, Phoenix, Patterson, Promise on and Ryan Graydon all started Fleetwood yesterday. 3 out of the 11 have come from that division. in the last 12, 13 months or so. And, you've signed a few as well. And, there's some right talent there. And if you can get them for fees, I think that their league will strengthen from it as well, because players will want to go and play football now, because they'll think, well, it's a good pathway now to get into the Football League.
Yeah, he's the next one off the League of Ireland conveyor belt. I think he's kind of similar to Aidan Keener, actually. He's very physical, very dominant up front, wins a lot of aerial duels, can finish. I think he's one of the top goal scorers in the league. They're obviously just over halfway. So, I think he's a bit of a coup for Shrewsbury, actually. I spoke to a guy on Twitter called HC, he's a bit of a scout at Halifax. I don't know if you've seen him kicking about. He's been scouting him for years for Championship clubs. So for Shrewsbury to sign him is a bit of a coup. So I think Shrewsbury fans are really going to like him, actually.
Absolutely. Keep your questions coming in below. Everyone hates Bristol Rovers because of our manager, but we were brilliant yesterday, and Portsmouth weren't that great. I think one thing you've got to understand, Bristol Rovers, Joey Barton's not hated. Well, he is, but I think Joey Barton as a manager has done a decent job wherever he's been. And Joey Barton will make the fans believe in their team, which you want to see. And I'll be honest with you. And look, I like what Scott Brown has done. And I've spoken to both of them. And you speak to Joey Barton, and I know Joey Barton had a slightly different squad. You speak to Joey Barton, and he would be, we're going to do this. And the aim is for this football club. Why shouldn't we aim for the players? And Scott Brown's a little bit more on the other side. I think that's maybe above what we should be doing. And he's playing it down. We're playing the system. I've been doing that with Fleetwood all week, saying finish above the bottom 4 and 50 points. Do I really believe that? Slightly, yes, but I think I'd be disappointed if we just finished above the bottom 4. But you want a manager to hurl inspiration in. I think we saw that this week with Portsmouth, didn't we? Where Mourinho's come out and said it wouldn't be a disappointment if we finish in the top 2. It's disappointing as a fan to hear, because you want to see that we're going to win every game and we're going to do this. But sometimes you've got to realise the weight of the expectation, don't you, Tom?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of background on that. It was one of those where you can see exactly what he's trying to say, because he wants to manage the expectation of a fan base that is so desperate to get out of the division. And I think he's just trying to protect his group of players who are completely new to the Pompey setup. But equally, you're quite right. You don't want to hear that as a Pompey fan. And I think that's why it got met with the ferocious response that it did, because it was the wrong thing to say. I think actually the overall answer itself, in terms of what he actually said, he sort of gave a really complex and really well thought out and crafted answer over the course of sort of 1 to 2 minutes or so. And the BBC Radio Sport soundbite that everyone saw wasn't perhaps a true reflection of the answer, but it was pound for pound, word for word, what he did say in a portion of that little section. But a lot of people were directed to go and listen to the exact quote. And I suppose it's kind of part of the world, and it's what we see as the media these days, is you can read exactly what you want to see, and you can take a little moment and make a mountain out of a molehill very easily. So, yeah, I think I was worried about that one there. And I also heard it live on the radio, and I thought, oh, that one's not quite going to go. I did think at the time, I was like, that's not going to go down brilliantly. It didn't instill me with an awful lot of confidence when I heard it. But equally, it was, I wouldn't say taken out of context. I'd say you want to listen to the whole answer. Yeah. The ownership very much today, speaking to Andy Moon, Michael Einser said, the top 3 things we want are number 1, promotion, number 2, promotion, and number 3, promotion. So that was that. And I think it's all aligned. It may just be a bit of a misstep from a manager who's pretty new to the whole media world at the moment as well. So I'm willing to let that one go. I do love Sadie. I think he's unbelievable, Will. I said to Ben and Jake a minute ago that he has this way about him to just draw defenders to him. He just seems to be absolutely everywhere. I just think he's immense. He's built like I won't say, but I'm sure you know what I'm about to say, or I would say. He's an absolute powerhouse, was the word that my mate used behind us on the video. And I think that's absolutely true. And I like his mentality as well. I wouldn't say rejected by Pompey, but he was told he could go elsewhere after his trial last summer. He's come back, proved his point, contributed massively to the game yesterday. And I think he'll be a difficult shift from that starting 11 in the next couple of weeks. I really do.
Absolutely. Great question here. Oh, sorry. There we are. Great question. What manager do you think will leave their job first? Well, we did discuss this on that League One podcast that you can go and check out. Another plug there. And I went with Andy Crosby because For me, I think that I looked at the start. I wasn't convinced of him as a managerial choice, really, and I just looked at the start and I thought, if they don't get up and running quickly, then all of a sudden you're seeking for results from games that against teams with maybe that aren't maybe too much better than you, but are a bit more in confidence and got points on the board. Look, they've got coming up Blackpool, Charlton, Reading all in the next 3 as well. Reading's next week, Blackpool the week after, Charlton on the Saturday after in 2 weeks' time. And I just look at the squad. I think you've got good players there that should stay up in League One. For me, I went with Andy Crosby. Jake, I think you went with Matty Taylor, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, and then got told off by Tom for picking a Pompey legend.
Yeah,
yeah,
he is a bit of a legend.
I just don't see it working out. He had a really uninspiring time at Walsall. I don't think he really deserved the step up to League One. Look, I'm sure he's a great coach and a great player, but you're looking at other coaches down the bottom end of League One where you think Shrewsbury might be. You've got Bonner, Paul Simpson, John Brady. They've all been in senior managerial roles for a lot longer than what he has. So for me, I think that Matty Taylor's going to have to give way, and I think Shrewsbury again will struggle, and I think that's only fair. But Andy Crosby's a good shout. I think it was Scott Parker lost his job after losing 9-0 away at Liverpool, wasn't it, last year?
He's only about 4 games in.
Andy Crosby, if he loses another big game, by 3, 4, 5, could be a quick one, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Maybe their approach will be changed, maybe a bit more defensive-minded, where Tuesday could be an absolute classic of the ages between Port Vale and Fleetwood. Tom, who did you go for?
I don't think I really said one, to be honest, but I
want get out of it like he always does.
I did get out of it, yeah. Golden boy and all that, Ben. Yeah, I think I was underwhelmed by the appointment of Andy Crosby when it happened at the back end of last season for Port Vale at the time, and I still feel that way now. It doesn't really change my complexion on it after the 7-0. I worry. I feel like it might be a bit of part of Andy Crosby's downfall will be that he hasn't actually got enough attacking threat to score goals. So you might see a lot of 2-3-0 Port Vale or 6 or 7-0 Port Vale until they can get that sorted out. And sometimes the manager takes the flak for a bit of bad recruitment, and I worry that might be the case at Port Vale. I actually think they've strengthened relatively well elsewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a kind of a comeback and they go, right, boys, this needs to mobilise us and we need to be together on this because we can't take a 7-0. Not by any way comparing the two, although they are in similar parts of the world. But Manchester United came back fantastically well from a 7-0 defeat at Anfield and managed to have a really good season off the back of it. So, I'd like to see the League One equivalent of that for Port Vale, but I'm in agreement with you boys. I think Andy Crosby's on a little bit of thin ice, although he hasn't been there long, has he? So I know that means nothing. You mentioned in Scott Parker, but it is a really short period of time and he probably needs a little bit longer. But this is football, isn't it? So we shall see.
Absolutely. Last couple of questions here. Christopher Jake, how much?
Yeah, what a surprise. What a bloody surprise.
Oh, bless.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming ever since you go, oh, Regan never put a foot wrong. Yeah, all right, I appreciate that.
It was even now or the podcast, so I thought we'd get it in now.
Can I just say, by the way, Jake,
yeah,
Josh Earl had an absolute belter of a game yesterday.
Yeah, what a surprise. But Regan pulls 10 times the player Josh Earl is. Look, we need a defender like Regan. Absolutely. When you lose somebody of Regan Poole's quality in Tom, I hope by the end of his contract he doesn't walk for free at you like he did for us. You're missing a massive play. I watched the video that Tom you put together. Excellent video, mate, as always. Walking off the pitch, I'm pretty sure he's in Marlon Pack's ear, having a word with him and telling him what to do. Look, he was a captain without the armband. I think he got given the captain's armband 2 months into arriving at Lincoln. So he joined in the January, and by March he was replacing Liam Bridcut, who was out injured a lot as captain. And I think Tom would have seen that. We'll see it all season. He's an excellent leader on the back line. He's really going to help Riley Towler develop, I think, and that's really something you can be excited for. He's a difficult player to replace. He's an excellent defender first and foremost. He's an excellent bloke. I remember chatting to him outside of Plymouth after we beat them, telling him to sign a bloody contract, which he never did.
You didn't beat Plymouth, did you?
No,
You should have mentioned it.
We beat Plymouth, but
Did you?
Yeah, we did, mate. At home park, 2-0. But anyway, we do need to. Yeah, we do, because we were at the back yesterday. Bolton at times, shredded us apart. They were great going forward. And how we had Regan pulling this side yesterday. Will be a loss, probably. Will be a loss 3-0. Definitely not. So I actually think that what we need at centre back is a ball playing centre back. I think we need Lewis Monsma fit, because if we get Lewis Monsma fit, he's that ball playing centre back. I think you've seen it in the COVID season, and he's been unfortunate for the last year or so. I think he came back away at Fleetwood, didn't he, Ben, and did his ACL again, which is poor. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. But we do definitely need a first choice centre back, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And the final question from Katie. Tom, how do you see Scully getting on? We wish him the best, just didn't work with him. I love it. I just love it.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's done him there, hasn't he? Big time.
Can we have one? Charlton fans, I'll let you have one question about Taylor Wadoon. Come on.
Cheers, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, Scully's another one. Immense.
Yeah, what a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, he gave way. I don't know who he came off for. It was one of the four, obviously, but I think the I'd said this on the podcast last week. The space he can find to A, run into, and B, play a pass into.
That's not quite what you said, Tom, is it? I think you said something else.
Oh, we can't. Yeah, but we can't repeat that live on the airwaves, can we? Crikey, she's got in a lot of trouble this week as well, so I definitely can't say that. Yeah, no, he's you look at kind of where Pompey were with left wingers. No disrespect, Jake. Rico and Ronan Curtis. Ronan Curtis, there's an argument there because there's an ACL injury that set him back, and he was unbelievable on his day for us. So I can not think of many better in that position at Pompey, doing what he does best than Ronan Curtis. However, I just think it's a major, major upgrade in terms of that output on the left wing with Anthony Scully. I just think he's so good. And he looks so old, but he's got the dynamism of such a young player. I think he's great. And I'm reveling in the success of X-Link and Jakey Boy fans, or fans that Jakey Boy is fans of. It's an absolute delight. But no, it's I know he's rooting for me secretly, so he might come across a little bit upset, but he's a little bit rooting for me.
Boys, thank you. We are going to end the stream here, and again, thank you for everyone that's tuned in. It's been the first show back. We've done it within an hour and 2 minutes. Not bad for someone who can't keep track of time. So I'm buzzing with that. Jake, any final words, mate? Thank you as ever for coming on and giving us your insight.
Well, big screen. No, thank you, Ben. I'm hoping I'm going to be a bit more positive next week. Hopefully after we've beat Wycombe. But no, thanks for having on, mate. It's been good to speak to you and to speak to Thomas as well. I mean, we're about to record T-Lop as well, so we've got another hour of you two plus Wardy, which is going to be extremely fun. But no, just good to be back, mate, and I'm really excited for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And Tom, have you come on before? Is this your debut?
Oh, I've definitely come on before. I've done this before.
Well, this is your debut this year. I'm sure we'll speak to you down the line. Tom, as ever, mate, thank you for coming on. And hopefully, Porter can get up and running soon.
Yeah, we'll give it a go, won't we? I hope that you feature our game at some point, or our games over the next couple of weeks and months, so we can come back on and have a similar discussion. Or I just think it's great to be able to chat to you boys. Again, as Jakey said, we've got another hour of this or so looking forward to that. And thank you to everybody for watching as well. Thank you for sticking around and supporting Ben's channel as well as you do. He's fantastic, as you know. So like, subscribe, get all of that good stuff. And if you haven't yet seen the video from yesterday, Carlisle away, worth for watching it, Ben.
Oh, Tom, what can I say? Thank you very much.
That was all right, wasn't it?
He's good at this YouTube game, isn't he? Again, thank you for everyone that has watched that. Good support on that as well. And thanks to everyone who's watched. We are currently 6 subscribers away from 11.3k. So if you could subscribe if you haven't already, like the stream as you're leaving as well. We're just under 50 as well. So that'd be appreciated. There will be live tags down below as well if you want to go and watch this back. But boys, thanks very much for watching. Again, we'll be back next Sunday for more League One roundup. A couple of match day vlogs this weekend. Port Vale away, and then we've got Cambridge at home. Two games that hopefully we can get results in. I am going to leave you be. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later. Big over and out. and up the Scarlet League One, boys.
What the imps?
Up the gods. Thanks for watching. Got the boys. Thanks for watching.